Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. I am my body. My body is my temple. And I am so much more than my body. Our bodies are the homes for our spirit while we inhabit this earth realm. Part of our learning about the duality of pain and joy is accessed by having a body. We learn how to look after it, and we learn about suffering if we do not look after it. The extent to which we learn to appreciate and honour our bodies and listen to their wisdom or not will have a big impact on the quality of this human experience. Hello, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Bring Him Home Sacred Masculinity Rising podcast series. This is our time and space to explore principles, stories, and experiences of what it looks like to really walk the road and embody the sacred masculine. My name is Miguel Dean, and I am the author of Bring Him Home, a twin flame love story, which is my true story of a conscious, passionate, loving relationship with an extraordinary woman, and how it played a significant role in the rising of my own sacred masculinity. And it's about my courageous journey that I embarked on from my head back to my heart. My intention is that through sharing my personal love story in the book and creating this podcast series, I will catalyse the divine twin flame union within the hearts of many men and women so that we can create a more beautiful world for our children and the generations to come. You can find out more about my book and the rest of my work at my website, migueldean.net. Anyway, let's get started. The 4th principle, which we're going to touch on today, is about our physical bodies. The principle is, I honour, respect, and nourish my physical body. So, every morning, I have a regular routine, a practice. The first thing that happens when I wake up is that I drink a pint of spring water that is always by my bed, and waiting for when I wake up. I always used to say to my kids, it's better to be a flushed than an unflushed toilet. So, it's important to drink enough fluid to flush our systems out. It's what helps remove the toxins. So I drink my water. I then do just a few minutes of breathing exercises. I then have another drink which is lemon juice and water. And sometimes if it's not fresh lemon juice and water, it will be apple cider vinegar and water. These are things that help alkalize and redress the alkaline acid balance in our bodies. Then I do some skin brushing, which helps my lymphatic system, because my lymphatic system is, I guess it's kind of my Achilles heel. Then I'll jump in the shower, and I do hot and cold showers, because again, that's good for the lymphatic system, and that just really makes me feel alive. After my shower, I will usually put a bit of natural cream on. I make my own, just like moisturising cream with coconut oil and a few different oils and essential oils. And then I do my Tai Chi. Sometimes just the warm-ups, and sometimes I'll just run through the form, which I've learnt. And then I usually have a glass of freshly made juice. carrot and celery and ginger and apple, sometimes some cucumber. Those are my favourites. That's my juice in the morning. So just wanting to give you an idea of, because it's no good me talking about this stuff if I don't practice what I preach. It feels good to me to start the day by honouring, respecting and nourishing my physical body. There's the other side of the coin is that it hasn't always been like that. When I was younger, when I was a young man, I didn't look after my body at all. I left home, and my low self-worth led me into a very sort of shadowy world of crime and violence and drugs and homelessness. And the looking after myself, it just wasn't a priority. I didn't feel I was worthy of it. And, there's that saying that says, youth is wasted on the young. When we're young, we think our bodies are invincible and that we're always going to be, in good health and so on, if we're lucky enough to start life, with good health. But I abused my body and I didn't look after it pretty much for a decade of not taking care of it. And the result of that was invariably that I got ill. I remember having a conversation with my father at one point and him explaining to me how he loved food and how, it was one of the great pleasures of being alive. And I remember at that point saying to him, "Oh no, I don't get that at all. Money is for buying drugs. And then if there's any money left over, then, maybe I'll get some food. I'll get some cheap food just to fill me up." And back in those days, I used to eat out of the dustbins, out of the skips, they call them in the UK, where they throw away, all the out-of-date food from the supermarkets at the back. We used to go raiding the skips at night and just fill our bags up with loads of out-of-date food. And that was the extent to which I looked after my body from a food perspective. And I didn't really exercise, and I didn't even brush well, and I didn't even wash well, and I didn't really brush my teeth regularly, to the extent that I remember going to the dentist eventually when I started to come out of the shadowlands, if you like, and my gums was just severely receded, and the dentist had said to me, if you hadn't have come to see me when you did, you would probably have lost all your teeth because your gums are so receded. And I had to have a lot of extensive and painful work done on my gums and my teeth to get their health back. So I learned the hard way that our bodies are so precious. If we don't look after them, they don't work well. With our cars in the UK, we have a thing called an MOT, motor vehicle test. And we go and just get it checked regularly, once a year, to make sure that it's all okay. Prevention is better than cure. But we don't do that with our bodies a lot of the time, We just wait till they break down and then we try and fix them. Prevention through honouring, respecting and nourishing the physical body is highly advised from my perspective. Because, I've had a good dose of suffering as a result of not taking care of my body. It's not just about what we eat, obviously. It's about, our sleep, our rest. It's about not getting stressed and being able to relax. There are many different ways of taking care of our bodies, and a lot of the medical scientific research shows that stress is actually one of the biggest negative impactors on our physical health. Because, in effect, our bodies, everything is just made up of energy, particles vibrating. And our bodies are kind of like a slightly more dense version of that energy with particles vibrating. But the source of illness and dis-ease is nearly always, from spiritual, emotional, psychological stress. So, if emotional or psychological or spiritual stress continues for a period of time, eventually it will show up in the body. And as I've alluded to before, that this dis-ease is often the accumulation of negative emotions, toxic energy that's stored in the body that eventually, causes things like cancer and all sorts of different health problems. So the sacred masculine knows that, the body is his temple, and it's something that, he needs to take care of. If I am to be able to serve and to contribute, then I need to take care of myself. It's no good, wanting to help everybody else, but at the detriment of myself, because that just means that it's all going to come crashing down. I'm going to get ill and I'm not going to be able to look after anybody. It's the airplane principle of put your own oxygen mask on first, isn't it? How they say in the safety drill on the airplanes. If there's a problem, then, then put your own oxygen mask on first. In an airplane, otherwise you can't help anybody else get their oxygen mask on. So yeah, this is these are some of the practical steps towards taking care of our physical bodies. It's almost unheard of, really. It's almost not cool to really put ourselves first and be loving to ourselves and kind to ourselves in that way. But the way we take care of our bodies is giving ourselves a message. I care for myself. I honor myself. When I was neglecting my self-care, I was kind of abusing and neglecting myself, which was just a replication of what had happened in my childhood to a large extent. So, how crazy is that? So let's just take a moment just to drop into, the realization of the miracle that these bodies are, and our senses that, operate through these bodies. We just so often take it all for granted. People say that they don't believe in miracles, but just bring your awareness to the body. It's one big miracle. One big miracle. The heart beating, all by itself. It's just that pump. It just beats the blood, pumps the blood around our bodies relentlessly, day in, day out. You don't have to think about it. And this is, without even going into the chakra system and the energy of the heart and so on, just the physical fact that there is a pump in there that somehow works. It is fueled by food and nourishment, and it's pretty awesome. Our breath, these lungs, breathing in, breathing out. A few moments, a few minutes without breath, and that's the end of life. And yet our bodies are taking in this air, taking the oxygen, breathing out the carbon dioxide, interconnectedly with the trees. Our voice, this voice that we have to express ourselves, to sing, to shout, to laugh, to cry, this voice box, this sound that comes out. Our bodies are like an instrument to be played. What sort of tune do you want to play? A beautiful tune or a cacophony of noise? Our immune system, all these little cells inside our bodies, all these communities rushing to areas of disease or cuts or problems or bruises to mend. all these different little like beings, microorganisms, bacteria, all have their place, all perfectly interacting together. The endocrine system with all the glands that operate all sorts of things that science is even, only just beginning to understand, and how the mystics tell us that, these glands are connected to the third eye, to other senses, other awareness, other realms, to consciousness itself. The feelings, the intelligence in our bodies, in our belly, in our chest. When you feel that you get that gut feeling, how does that work? What a miracle. And our eyes. I like to ask myself the question, who is it that sees, who is it that looks out from behind these eyes? How do they work? What a gift to be able to see so many beautiful things, nature, our children, a beautiful painting, our lover. The gift of vision from these eyes. The sense of smell from our nose to smell the exquisite fragrance of the flowers. To smell the home cooking when you come back from work. And your lover has prepared something for you. The smells, the fragrance of the earth, of these bodies. And the ears to hear, the gift of music. So many different qualities and types and sounds. The music of the birds. These miraculous bodies that often we just take for granted. The sense of touch, this skin. To be able to feel these different textures. To be able to be caressed and to caress. Feel the outsides of these bodies to give definition to the form which we are in. And to taste. The sweet, the sour, the bitter, pungent, the astringent. The taste of our lover. These bodies that serve us so well. We are in these bodies, they are our homes. And we do well to take good care of them. That means being mindful of what goes into our bodies, alcohol, drugs and coffee, all sorts of, pharmaceuticals, and be aware of what you put into your body. Not just the good things that you put in, but, And it doesn't have to be fanatical, I don't believe. Yeah, we are here to enjoy and to experience and to try and to, the rich variety of this life. I think the key is that if you do things with your body, then do them from an honouring place or from a sacred place. I don't personally have a problem with having a smoke now and again. I do it from a sacred place. Sometimes it's not what we do, but how we do what we do. If we do things from a fearful, guilty, shameful place, then that energy impacts on what we do. And exercise, of course, is important. For me, the walking is my exercise in my Tai Chi, my walking in nature on the hills, my walking barefoot on the land. It makes me feel good, it makes me feel alive, it brings me back into connection with the divine feminine. These are important things for the way of the sacred masculine, for me. And it's different for everybody. A few years ago, I got into kind of this idea that I came across of rewilding, which I really loved. It just really resonated, bringing back the wildness and the primal essence of who I am as man. And I began to let my hair grow. Thought, if we were meant to have short hair, we would, we'd be born with short hair. We'd let my hair grow. I love the feel of the wind in my hair. When I shower and when I wash, I don't really use soap or shampoos or anything like that. I don't believe that we need them. I don't smell. Water cleanses me. My shower is a sacred practice, taking care of my body, the blessing of water on my skin, the feeling of that. I've had my share of ill health, which I take full responsibility for. And I know that it has a big impact on the quality of my life. So these days I do what I can to honor my physical body, to nourish it, to respect it. And I know that when things do go wrong, for want of a better word, the word wrong, it's not really wrong. I guess it's just learning. But when I was ill, what I discovered was that small steps consistently done resulted in big changes. And I just made changes to my way of life. Good health, good physical health isn't necessarily waiting for something to go wrong. It's just adopting a way of life that is honoring of yourself and your physical vessel. But if things do go wrong, small positive steps consistently done result in big positive changes. And just small steps consistently done all the time, even if your health is good, will maintain that good health. So the sacred masculine knows that for the duration of this lifetime, his body is his home. And he is wise to take good care of his home. In honouring his body, he knows he is honouring the sacredness of life itself, because his attitude to himself is his attitude to all of life. All in the one and one in the all. I will end with our blessing, which I wrote from the front of my book, Bring Him Home, a Twin Flame Love Story. May the energy of this podcast be a catalyst for the union of the divine feminine and masculine energies within the hearts of all men and women. May we have the willingness and determination to make the journey from our heads back to our hearts. May we learn to father and mother ourselves and take care of our inner child. And may we remember what it is to love ourselves, each other, all sentient beings, and this sacred earth, for ourselves, our children, and the generations to come. Thank you for joining me today. I am Miguel Dean, catalyzing the twin flame union of divine masculine and feminine energies within the hearts of men and women. I'm the author of my new book, Bring Him Home, a twin flame love story, published by Sacred Stories Publishing, which is available online through booksellers worldwide, or you can get a signed copy from my website, migueldean.net. I invite you to subscribe to this podcast and to join me next time, where we will explore the fifth principle of sacred masculinity, which is, I am the master of my own mind. Until we meet again, be well. Aho.